Good afternoon. On behalf of our team at RDIEC, we would like to welcome Ryan Padel, professional engineer from SaskEnergy. He is here this afternoon to discuss the type of work he does, the training that he received, the characteristics they are looking for in a candidate, the career opportunities at SaskEnergy, salary expectations, and the working conditions. Just a reminder to all students that after you watch this presentation, please complete the survey found on our website, either by using the QR code found on the promo poster, or go to www.rdiec.ca. By completing the survey, you are automatically entered to win a $50 gift card, which will be drawn for at the end of this month. Again, we would like to welcome Ryan, and I'm going to let him begin his presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Padel. I'm a professional engineer. I work at SaskEnergy in Regina, and today I'm going to talk to you about a few different things, including reliability center maintenance, which is the job that I perform, as well as SaskEnergy in general and the different types of jobs and careers that are available, and a showcase of the variety of different things that SaskEnergy gets involved with and that I've done in my career and gotten involved with in my career. So just to start things off, I want to give an introduction to myself. I graduated from the University of Regina in 2012 with an electronic systems engineering degree. That's from the University of Regina. If you have the chance to go into the co-op program when the time comes and you're looking at post-secondary education, I highly recommend it. The co-op program gives you 4-month work terms at real businesses in Regina and around Canada, and they open up doors and provide flexibility that otherwise just aren't available to you. So if you have the chance and you're considering and on the fence about the co-op program, I would highly recommend it. That was my introduction into some of the industry in Saskatchewan and Canada. My first work term was at the RCMP depot over in the west side of Regina. I worked an IT job there with an awesome group where I learned a lot of different things. We worked alongside and with a lot of the cadets that were being trained daily, and maintained a lot of the computer and electronic system out there. And as part of that work term, I got to drive around the province, visit RCMP detachments around the province. I got to explore the driving simulator, the shooting range at the depot, and a lot of different other opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't be able to see if you didn't work there. So, as an introduction to the working world, the RCMP opened up a lot of doors for me, and it was a really good experience to see what working life would be like after university was done. My second work term, I had the opportunity to go to Ottawa for 4 months, where I worked for Statistics Canada. I had never been to Ottawa before. The opportunity came up on the co-op job board. I applied and did an interview over the phone, and was hired on the spot, which was sort of a change, and I was a little bit unexpected. But my experience in Ottawa for 4 months was awesome. Again, a real business. I was working with on the computer systems for the census for Canada, for the federal government. I got to see Ottawa while I was there, see some hockey games and explore the city. And again, an opportunity that otherwise you would never get to experience being in Ottawa for 4 months for a work term. When I came back to Regina, I worked at Solvera, which is an IT consulting firm here in the city. And again, a lot of really good people I met, some really good experience. Solvera subcontracts people to offices around the province. And I was lucky enough to be stationed at SaskEnergy, where I worked in the IS department there. So that was my first introduction to SaskEnergy. And one of the big benefits of the co-op program was that you get to meet people in industry and get contacts and names and references that otherwise just aren't available to you. So working at SaskEnergy for Solvera, I got to meet some of the engineers that were working full-time at SaskEnergy. Got to go down and play cards with them at lunch or in the gym and work alongside them during my work term. And that opened up the door where I came back for my fourth work term, actually at SaskEnergy in the automation department. So the automation department is responsible for monitoring all of the industrial equipment that SaskEnergy owns and operates around the province. And that equipment around the province is monitored, and the data comes back to a centralized 24/7 area called gas control. And so working for SaskEnergy, I was responsible for assisting with the installation and the design of that equipment around the province that performs that monitoring. So overall, the co-op program is a chance to work in the real world, a chance to build valuable relationships, and you never know where your career might start. So for me, it was in 2010 at SaskEnergy, a year and a half before I graduated. My supervisor during my co-op term moved to a different position the last week of my co-op term. And as by the time things progressed and his job posting was posted and I applied on it and I interviewed, it was roughly Christmas, 4 months after I had gone back to school. And SaskEnergy and the department held that position for me till I was graduating. So for me, a year and a half before I graduated, due to opportunities and relationships that I built, it ended up being how I ended up at SaskEnergy full time. So before I talk more about my job, I just wanted to take a step back and talk about engineering in Saskatchewan. So this is the career path that I've taken, and it's the one I'm most familiar with. But I will touch on SaskEnergy careers in general and all of the different types of opportunities that are available for everyone, even if you don't want to go into engineering. So engineering in Saskatchewan is provided both by the University of Regina and the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon. And there are a number of specialty programs related to engineering. So electronics in Regina and electrical in Saskatoon are very similar programs. This is the program that I took in Regina. Electronics engineering has to do with low voltage equipment, things like computer chips and building your own computer and process equipment and some of the automation stuff I talked about. That would be considered low voltage electronics equipment. High voltage equipment such as power lines and large scale industrial gear at some of our mine sites, those would be high voltage electrical systems equipment. So the two programs are very similar, and in the end I would say most businesses don't understand the difference between the two, and the two are treated very much the same. It's just really the theory and the back end that's different. The same goes for industrial engineering in Regina and civil engineering in Saskatoon. This has to do with the manufacturing and creating infrastructure that enhances the world. So things like creating pipelines or highways or mine sites, those would be the things that an industrial or a civil engineer would be involved with. Mechanical engineering is located, Saskatoon offers it only, and it's kind of an offshoot of civil and industrial. It has to do with the creation of mechanical systems that control and transform energy. So very similar in some ways to electronics and electrical, but for those that prefer to work on vehicles or work with their hands on equipment rather than computers. Environmental engineering in Regina and chemical engineering in Saskatoon are very similar. They deal with solving issues around climate change and clean water and waste management. And environmental engineering is one of the fastest growing industries in the world for obvious reasons because of what's going on around the world today. Petroleum engineers, this concept is offered by both schools. They deal with the management of oil and gas reserves and the design of oil and gas systems. So SaskEnergy employs many petroleum engineers in addition to a lot of the other ones on this list here, like environmental, mechanical, industrial, electrical, and electronics. software engineering in Regina, and computer engineering in Saskatchewan. This deals with things like programming and making games and apps and web applications and digital marketing, and is related to professional work on a computer. Process engineering, this is kind of a study area that involves all the other areas that you see above. So process engineers learn a little bit about everything from industrial and mechanical systems to electronics and software that runs it. And it's a general program for those that want to get a little bit of experience in everything. In addition, Saskatoon also offers a few other engineering specialty programs. So geological, which is focused on natural materials and fluids found in the earth, like rocks and soils and groundwater. And also engineering physics, which is merging applied science, hands-on science, with that theoretical piece as well. So using scientific concepts to advance technology and sustainability for the world. So I talked about the co-op program in Regina. Saskatoon doesn't have a co-op program, but they do have an internship program. So it is I believe it's a 1-year program, 1-year work term at a business in Saskatoon or around Canada. So you don't get the experience of 4 different places, but you do get a full year of experience, which will allow you to integrate with a company, basically as a full-time worker for a full year. Post-graduation, engineers have a little bit of a path and a structure into what happens after you graduate. So when you graduate from the engineering program, and this is universal across Canada, you become an engineer in training. So you work for 4 years as an engineer in training, and during that time you have to provide, you have to write work term reports that outline and summarize some of the engineering design work that you've been doing at your job. And that report gets signed off by your boss, who is a professional engineer. And it's a way for APEGs, which is the governing body for engineers, to validate that you're doing real engineering work. There's also an ethics exam that you have to write and take. So it involves a multiple choice and some essay questions around engineering good practices and being safe and taking your job serious and being responsible. And that engineering exam is a requirement within that 4 years work experience. So once you're done those 4 years and that exam, then you get your professional engineering designation, or PEng. And that professional engineering designation is a validation that you are a true professional engineer working in the field and able to design and manage and take on all the roles that are involved in that job. And then there's also an optional designation called permission to consult. So this is for people who end up starting their own engineering firm or business. So if you go into business for yourself and you feel that you're an expert in your area, subject area, you can apply for a permission to consult seal, which is again a validation that you are an expert in your field and you're able to design and manage and oversee the business that you want to run. Overall, the engineering is a great program, and it's one that I'm happy that I went into. Overall, professional engineers are project managers, people managers, technical experts, leaders of change and technology. So if that interests you and that's a role that you see yourself in, engineering opens up a lot of different doors. And you saw in the systems in the previous slide, there is a lot of variety and a lot of different subject areas that you can get involved with in the field of engineering. So that's my piece on engineering. Switching back to SaskEnergy, which is where I work and will be my focus here today. And I will touch on other jobs at SaskEnergy as well. But just to start with, SaskEnergy is Saskatchewan's natural gas crown corporation. It's comprised of basically 2 different areas, a transmission side of the company and a distribution side. So the transmission side of the company is responsible for the receipt, transport, and delivery of natural gas to industrial customers. So SaskEnergy receives gas both locally from producers within Saskatchewan and outside of the province from Alberta, from producers in Alberta. And we receive gas at the west border and transport it east throughout the province, where we drop it off to customers at cities located around the province, and then onward into the United States and east into Manitoba and Ontario. And the natural gas that we transport is what's used to heat your home every day. The distribution side of the company is that actual delivery piece of natural gas to the residential customer. So the gas that actually comes from your home is delivered from SaskEnergy, and that's why you probably noticed, or your bill or your parents' bill has the SaskEnergy logo on it. The transmission side of the business is an arm of SaskEnergy called TransGas, and again, it's responsible for the transport of higher pressure gas to the different cities around the province and industrial customers such as Sask Power, the mines around the province, the Husky Lloyd Upgrader in Lloydminster, and other large customers. Overall, SaskEnergy has over 70,000 kilometers worth of underground pipeline, and we supply gas to 93% of Saskatchewan's communities. So a lot of people and a lot of jobs are required in order to maintain this equipment and deliver this gas in a safe manner around the province every day. There are a large number of career opportunities at SaskEnergy and jobs in every single field. So there are field jobs and office jobs. So in the field, if you think of all those stations that maintain those pipelines and transport gas from point A to point B, we have things like people like service technicians, meter technicians, mechanics, electricians, and field staff that are responsible with working hands-on with the equipment every day and making sure that it's run safely and consistently. We also have office jobs as well, so administrative staff that work with all of the paper and the documents that we deal with daily, business administration staff in the fields of human resources, accounting, finance, marketing, purchasing to make sure we purchase the right amount of pipe and we work with the right consultants around the province. We have engineers all throughout the company, which I talked about, and you can see some of those disciplines that I mentioned before. A large IT team that is responsible for maintaining the computers and the network security and the software that operates all of the equipment in the field. So overall, you can see that we have both post-secondary education jobs and jobs that are available right out of high school, and jobs that you learn on the job and jobs that you require some school learning in order to get your foot in the door. So a high variety of different jobs at SaskEnergy and a lot of opportunity at one of Saskatchewan's largest crown corporations. So then next, I'd like to get into reliability center maintenance. So this is my area of expertise. My job in reliability center maintenance is to maintain and upkeep our equipment in the field. So all of the electrical and the mechanical systems in the field, the pipelines, the buildings and the infrastructure, the tools that are used to integrate and calibrate with that equipment. I'm responsible for creating maintenance programs and maintenance packages that ensure that that equipment works properly and is up to date and is safe to use so that our staff in the field are kept safe as well. So I want to introduce reliability center maintenance by asking you to all imagine a light bulb in your house. So what does that light bulb is in your bedroom, and it is expected that that light bulb works whenever you turn the light switch on. So when you enter your room, you turn a light switch, you expect that that light bulb will turn on. And so what does a maintenance program mean for that light bulb? So one, we expect that that light bulb always works. And so we expect that whatever maintenance we perform on that light bulb will extend or continue the life of that light bulb on indefinitely. But the first thing we have to decide is, what light bulb should we purchase for your room? And there are a few different options today. If you go to the hardware store, you can buy an incandescent light for the cost of $1, and that bulb has an average lifespan of between 1 and 2 years. You can buy a compact fluorescent bulb, which is the middle bulb you see in the picture. These are very common now. They cost more, around $6, but they have an average life of between 7 and 11 years. Or you can purchase an LED or a light emitting diode light at the cost of $10, and it has an average life of between 15 and 25 years. So there is no right or wrong answer into which light bulb you purchase, but with a difference in average life, it means that you have to perform maintenance more often on that bulb. And when it dies, your maintenance is to go out and get a replacement light bulb and replace it in the socket so that you have light in your bedroom. So our decision here today, just to introduce this concept, is that we only have $1, so we choose to buy that incandescent bulb. We obviously save money at a bulb that has the shortest average lifespan, but we don't care. It fits our needs, it lights up our room, and we're off and we're ready to go. So now that our light bulb is installed in our bedroom, what are some different ways that we could maintain this light bulb and make sure that it is working indefinitely? Well, we could do nothing. We could wait until this light bulb goes out, and then we could go out to the store and we could go buy a replacement. In this scenario, we minimize our effort. We can be a little lazy with it. We don't have to do anything until that light bulb goes out in 1 to 2 years from now. But the cons to this approach are that when the light bulb dies, we have to drop everything in our life and we have to go to the store, buy a light bulb and replace it, or else we have to live with no light in our bedroom. We could do nothing, but we could keep a spare on hand in our house. So by keeping a spare, we minimize our effort 1 to 2 years down the road when that light bulb goes out. We just have to go walk and grab that spare, and we replace that bulb and we go on our way. However, if we have the money to buy spares today, why didn't we just spend a little extra and buy that CFL or LED bulb? That way we don't have to take effort 1 to 2 years from now. It has a longer lifespan, and we've used that money in a way that's more efficient than buying multiple low efficient light bulbs on day one. We could replace that light bulb every 1.5 years proactively. So this way we might never have a burnt out light, or we minimize the risk of a burnt out light. We know that this light bulb has a 1 to 2 year lifespan. So we'll just make the effort every 1.5 years to replace it on our own. However, the con to this approach is that we waste part of that light bulb's life. So we replace that bulb before it actually dies, and we lose some of the usage of that light bulb. And there's also no guarantee that it doesn't fail before 1.5 years anyway. So if it fails before our fixed, the calendar reminder comes up, then we have to run out to the store and replace it, and we're back at step one where we could have just done nothing instead. We could continuously monitor our light bulb for flickering. So every few days we could check that bulb up close for signs of dimming or flickering. And that's common. If you guys don't know, it happens in incandescent bulbs right before they fail. You might notice that they get dimmer, or they flicker on and off when they're in use. So if we continuously monitor this every few days, as soon as we observe an issue happening, we can proactively replace that light bulb. This takes really low manual effort, but it's at regular intervals. So instead of spending a lot of time 1 to 2 years from now, we spend a few seconds every couple of days to make sure our light bulb is still good. So we spread out that effort over the time of that light bulb. Or we could, instead of manually inspecting that bulb for dimming, we could set up a webcam and we could point it at that light bulb. And we could have our webcam take pictures regularly and send us a text message when it detects any changes in that light bulb. So rather than us taking manual effort to watch for dimming or flickering, we could set up a webcam and have it do our job for us. There's less manual effort, but a higher cost of equipment to buy a webcam and set it up and point it at that light bulb. So there's no right or wrong answer to the type of maintenance that we could do on this light bulb, and each one has its own pros and cons as far as work and cost and effort associated with it. And this is the decision that at SaskEnergy we have to make all the time as well, is for all the pieces of equipment in the field, and we have thousands of them, what type of maintenance should we perform and what makes sense for the type of equipment we're looking at. So this decision on what to do with our light bulb is exactly what reliability-centered maintenance is. So the different decisions we make to maintain our light bulb, they are straight defined in our reliability-centered maintenance program, which is a collection of maintenance types that can be performed on any piece of equipment. So the run to failure maintenance type is the do nothing action, or the do nothing but keep a spare action. So we have very low effort in this case, but it can lead to high downtime if we don't have a replacement bulb on hand. And there's uncertainty that our bulb might go out when we're trying to do homework in our room, or when we might need it. The option to replace that light bulb every year or year and a half, that is a maintenance type called preventative maintenance. In preventative maintenance, we minimize downtime in most cases. However, we need to schedule and we need to coordinate this effort. So we have to add a reminder to our phone, and we have to check for a spare before our deadline date. And we have to do some small coordination effort in order to make sure that we keep up with this maintenance. But otherwise, we call it preventative maintenance. Predictive maintenance is the option to manually monitor that light bulb for flickering. So the pro here is that we should eliminate our downtime completely. However, we have small continuous costs and effort in order to continuously monitor for flickering or changes in that light bulb. But otherwise, this is a fine option, and we call it predictive maintenance. And lastly, if we were to install a webcam to monitor for flickering of that bulb, we call this condition-based maintenance. So again, condition-based maintenance eliminates downtime completely. However, we have a high upfront cost of equipment in order to get started and running. The other pro here to condition-based maintenance is that we don't have to spend effort ourselves monitoring that light bulb. We can get a computer, or we can get a smart system to do our job for us instead. And again, none of these maintenance types are right or wrong, but for each type of equipment, we have to decide how important it is to us, and then what maintenance type we should apply to that piece of equipment. So a light bulb is a simple example, but now think of your vehicle or your parents' vehicle. What are the different systems that your vehicle has? If you think about it, your vehicle has an engine, there's an oil system and a fuel system. It probably has 4 wheels, an exhaust, heating and cooling system. There's some electrical components involved, speakers. There's a chassis that the frame sits on. And just like a light bulb, you need to apply reliability center maintenance to your car as well. So what types of maintenance do we perform on our car? If you're like most people, you take your car in for an oil change at regular intervals of kilometers. And this is called preventative maintenance. On a set interval, you let an expert check your oil and other systems, and you hope that your effort and money will extend the expected life of your vehicle. Other than your oil, you probably wait for this magical light to come on instead. And when it comes on, it's a check engine light. It means there's something generally wrong, and you take your car into that same expert you do for your oil. But otherwise, a lot of people don't do a lot of other maintenance on their vehicle. So maintenance at SaskEnergy works the same way as a light bulb. It works the same way as a vehicle. I talked before how one of our main jobs is to move gas from the west side of the province through to the east side to the US down to Manitoba. We do this with stations around the province called compressor stations. And a compressor station's main goal is to move natural gas throughout the province, eventually to your home or other homes. And we have over 30 of these compressor stations, and they contain a lot of the same components that I just went over in your car. There's engines on site, there's an oil system, a fuel system, there's heating and cooling involved, electrical devices, chassis would be like pipelines buried in the ground. And all of these pieces of equipment have associated maintenance related to them. We also have over 500 auxiliary sites in Saskatchewan. So these auxiliary sites perform one of two functions. They either deliver gas to an endpoint, to a residential or industrial customer, or they receive gas from a supplier, such as at the Alberta border or producers that live locally inside of the province. And so these sites aren't as complicated as our compressor stations, but again, they have pipelines, they have heating and cooling systems, checks and balances in place to make sure that the gas we receive is clean and meets our specifications. And there's maintenance associated with them as well. And each facility has between 0 and hundreds of pieces of equipment. Our largest facility has over 500 maintainable systems and components. And for each of those systems and components, we make similar decisions that we made on our light bulb. Should we do nothing? Should we monitor it on regular intervals? Should we do some kind of condition-based maintenance? And should that be performed by staff at SaskEnergy or some type of equipment that does the job for us? And those decisions and the type of maintenance performed, again, fall into definitions that are written in reliability-centered maintenance: run to failure, preventative maintenance, predictive maintenance, and condition-based maintenance. So as you can imagine, with thousands of pieces of equipment, there are many jobs and many careers involved in maintenance at SaskEnergy. We employ over 100 different mechanics that perform maintenance on mechanical rotating equipment located around the province. We employ 11 electricians that perform maintenance on all of our electrical equipment. So everything that supplies power and everything that helps to make our gas flow electrically throughout the province. We employ over 200 in-house trained service technicians and maintenance technicians. These jobs inspect and maintain our pipelines and our customer equipment. So if you have an issue with your natural gas line at your house, a service technician or a maintenance technician will come out and perform service and provide customer service on your house and equipment. We employ over 20 operations leads. So these are technical leads to support all of the roles above. So they are leadership roles that understand our equipment very well and understand the historical, what we've done in the past, and what we need to do in the future in order to keep equipment running. We have 12 operations managers. This role performs people management of our field staff. So they actually do the people management to all the roles above, including work management and performance and making sure that they're doing their jobs correctly and safely for everyone. We have 6 general managers that make sure that we have aligned objectives around the province, so that a worker over in the Regina or Indian Head area is doing the exact same work up north in PA or Melfort. Maintenance at SaskEnergy has 10 engineers that design what maintenance should be performed on each type of equipment. So making the decisions around reliability-centered maintenance and what maintenance package is right for that piece of equipment. We have 5 business administration graduates that schedule work in the field and are our interface from head office to field staff. So our business admins use a computer management system to schedule our field staff and make sure that they're in the place that they need to be to perform maintenance or respond to an emergency. We have 2 computer science graduates that perform data analysis and review work. So as you can imagine, with thousands of pieces of equipment, it's important that we know what the problems are and we can respond to those issues when they come up. So we have computer science graduates that can write programs and Excel macros that tell us when there's an issue and allow us to automatically make decisions instead of manually waiting for that light bulb to go out and for us to hear about it. And then there's a director that oversees the alignment of everything you see above. So with over almost 300 staff here, that director oversees the alignment and makes sure that we have a common goal throughout the company. So maintenance jobs in the future. There are many jobs in the area of maintenance that if you didn't think about it before, you should be thinking about it in the future. Until 2014, Saskatchewan was seeing quite the boom. Housing prices and new buildings soared in the province, and businesses like SaskEnergy or other crown corporations like SaskPower and SaskTel were building new infrastructure to meet up with the demand. Since 2015, new buildings and new pipelines being built have fallen drastically due to a number of factors such as low oil prices, a weak Canadian dollar, and of course the pandemic that we've all been dealing with over the last year. So you can see above in the chart that we boomed up until 2014, and then things have been, on the downhill trend for the last number of years while we've been dealing with all these other things. However, everything placed into service up until 2014 requires continuous maintenance. So even if the province isn't building new equipment and putting new pipelines in the ground, it is still important that what is in the ground is maintained and kept up and is kept safe for everyone. And with lower budget dollars, extending the lifespan of our assets is more important now than ever before. And this is why reliability center maintenance is a core objective, and it's a career path for many people in the province. It's an important need at all companies, SaskEnergy included, and it helps to keep people safe and keep the province efficient and the company efficient. As you saw on the last slide, there are careers in maintenance for all different types of people. Trades like mechanics or electricians, or university degrees like engineers and business admin and computer science. And so no matter what your interests are, there are maintenance jobs in the future available to you. Lastly, why do I like my job in reliability center maintenance? Well, I get to design maintenance packages for our field staff to perform and execute. And on the back end, I get to review that data and make decisions on what changes should be made in the field, what equipment we should buy and replace, and how our overall maintenance program is performing in the province. So I love the variety in my job and the different pieces of equipment and the social interaction and the different people in the field and at head office that I get to interact with on a daily basis. Overall, I love the ability to drive change in the company and to apply new technology and new concepts to the field. So just like buying a webcam to monitor your light bulb, we're constantly evaluating new pieces of technology and cool new technology that monitors equipment and provides answers and provides data automatically like never before. And there's also a lot of continuous change in our jobs. So on the environmental side, you may have heard of some of the regulations in place, the climate tax that we have to deal with now. Those are drivers for change in our business and a means to do things more efficiently than ever before and to take a leadership role at SaskEnergy and in the province to make sure that our equipment is safe, the people that interact with natural gas is safe, and that we continuously improve and make things better for the province. So now I'd like to open it up to any questions that you might have and any thoughts or ideas or things that you'd like me to answer about my job or SaskEnergy or the fields of engineering or any of the other careers that SaskEnergy has in general. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, you're back on?
I am.
Hi.
I am.
What a thorough presentation. That was very well done. Thank you so much.
Well,
We do have a couple of people in our view room, and if they have any questions, I'm going to ask them to maybe type it into the chat, or they can definitely mute themselves and just ask the question as well too. So we'll just give them a couple of minutes to think about that. The one question that we had from our office was students always want to know kind of that wage range. In specifically with an engineering job, where would a starting wage be with SaskEnergy, and how far up the ladder would you go with that range
yeah.
as
So
an engineer?
I would say at a high level, there's a wide gap, and obviously it depends on the job and the function that you're performing. For engineers, so SaskEnergy at a high level, all those wages are actually posted online. If you go look up the payee disclosure report, and anyone that works at a Crown corporation, all of our wages are actually public and public knowledge. As far as the engineering side goes, APEGS also publishes those reports, so you can go see what a person 1 year out of school or 2 years or 5 years, what the average wage is across the province. I would say for an engineer, I think the starting wage is around between 60 and 70,000 would be right out of university. But there's definitely level changes along the way. So I talked about the professional engineering designation after 4 years. All of our Crown corporations actually reward professional engineers, and they reward people who follow through and get that designation with a mandatory step bump in wage just for completing that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Yes. Another question for you here.
Ryan, I know that the natural gas power generation has become a big thing across the province. I know there's one by my hometown in North Battleford. Do you guys maintain that equipment? Do you have anything to do with that, or is that all SaskPower, not SaskEnergy?
So we partner with SaskPower on all of their power generation facilities, and we actually we're actually consider them one of those industrial customers that I talked about. So that mine by North Battleford, or there's a new one over by Swift Current area. We actually provide all of the heating load and a lot of the gas that powers that generation facility with SaskPower. So it's a partnership there where we provide natural gas for them to do their business. And then there's other facilities around the province where SaskPower delivers gas back to us. So they generate power, or they do some oil production, and then the offshoot of the oil, the natural gas, comes back to us onto our system. So it's a two-way relationship with SaskPower in a lot of those areas.
Yeah, there's been some good studies that it's a fairly clean way to produce power, natural gas, right?
Yeah, I think in the industry right now, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of focus on some of the climate tax and the climate changes that are happening in industry, and at SaskPower, we really want to promote that natural gas is actually a clean alternative for a lot of those ways. And so it's not just about finding 100% alternative clean energy. It's about partnering with natural gas as an interim step to get there, because we're a better alternative compared to other power sources.
Awesome. Good point. I'm not seeing any chats from our audience right now. I really appreciated those slides on the types of engineer programs from comparing the two universities. And so when we talked about where we're going to put this on our YouTube channel, I think we're also going to promote just the fact that it's not just a SaskEnergy presentation, but also you've done a very good job of describing the types of engineer programs in the province too. So that's very good for students that don't quite know where they want to fit in or what they're interested in doing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I would just say, engineering's like that. It's not spelled out 100%. And the good thing, for me going through it is your first year is very generalized. And so you can go with a foot in the door into engineering, and you don't have to make that decision about where your area of expertise is until later on in your school, once you get a better perspective on everything.
Yeah, and I think you really promoted the co-op programs, and I think that's important to know as well. That kind of gives some direction as well to what options you have out there too. So that's perfect.
Awesome presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
Thank
on
you very much.
on behalf of RDIEC, we'd like to thank you, Ryan, for taking this time of putting together this presentation. It was very helpful, and I know students are going to be able to make some very good choices based on, some of the information that you've given us this afternoon. So again, thank you again, and we appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you.